Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Skywalker X-1 build. If you want to see part 1, the link will be in the description, and I apologise, I'm on the DSLR and it's just using the internal mic, which isn't brilliant. Mostly because I lost the little clip for the GoPro. So what I've done is I've basically found the middle of this wooden piece. It's just over 60mm long. So at 30mm I marked, I did that on both sides, and then I have, let's stick it on manual focus, I then found the gap for the servo wire on both sides and just joined them up with a line. I'm not too bothered about the line being there, it'll probably get removed over time, and if not I can just run the wires for the device I'm putting on each wingtip down that line, should I say, to get rid of it. Okay, so as you can see, what I have done is measured 1 inch from the outer of the wood across to the bend on my antenna. I decided to use the switchable video transmitter, so that is the one that will do 25, 200 and 600. I decided to use that mostly because everything's in one line. Makes it a little bit easier to cut. So as you can see, I have drawn around the board roughly, so that'll fit like that. I can just cut around it and feed the wire down that line. Alright, so as you can see, I have fitted the video transmitter. The way I used this was the old use a scalpel, sharp scalpel blade to cut the square out and then slice it into loads of little squares, and then use a knife with a stronger blade such as this one to flick all the bits out, as you can sort of see laying around the desk. I've also started on the other side. This is also marked 1 inch from away, if you can see. Well, I guess there's a little line there that marked 1 inch because that's not in the middle, unlike the video transmitter. Now you might notice that this is now just a circuit board. I did have it in the case, but the trouble is with having it in the case is it sticks out a fair way, and the trouble with the knife and then taking out the squares method is it's hard to get a second layer because it's not smooth when you've got this sort of ledge to now push against. Not ideal for doing the second layer, so that does stick out a fair amount. If I can focus, yeah, really not suitable. So I've taken the receiver out, but the problem is now it's a little bit too big, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat shrink it, but before I heat shrink it I really need to put the cable on. I'm just going to go down here. What I've decided is I'm not going to do, what I was going to do is run this servo straight up here and then have just the decoder sat down here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. At the moment I'm actually going back to the other way of just having this servo run down this slot instead of having to go up and then across. But we'll see, once we've got the decoder in, we'll see what we do from there. That was a little update. Back in a little while. Okay, we've had another slight change of plan. So when thinking about how I was going to sort the wires for this, what I decided is here is what we were going to be using to power this plane. So DYS 30A BLHC and a 3A UBEC and buzzer. I decided not to do that, and what I'm actually going to do instead, because I found one in the cupboard, is use a Turnigy 30A plus. It has a 2A. You can see that connected slightly. Come on, behave. 2A BEC, 5 volts. That's good for these servos, because that means that here we have plenty of room. As you can see, when that canopy is on, it will line up with the air hole to let air in and such, and underneath there we have plenty of room to fit our little S-bus decoder, wherever I've chucked that. Here it is. It's now on the floor. So there's plenty of room to put that underneath. this is I removed those pins across there. It usually has 4 sets of pins. This is where auto may be best. Apologies for the noise. So as you can see, that's got 3 sets of pins. There's another set of pins coming straight up from there that I removed. So my next steps are, I need to remove the 3.5mm bullets on the end of there and swap them for 2mm. And I also need to figure out how, and to do so, extend this wire from the center section up to the receiver. So once I have done some soldering, I will be back. Okay, so I finished the soldering on the speed controller, and I was looking with this, our S-bus decoder, looking where to fit it in the extension lead so I could then heat shrink up our receiver. And there's a small problem. This thing doesn't work. It passes power, the servos power up, but it's not getting any signal through. And I know it's right because when you plug the servo into channel 4 on this receiver, it goes haywire. So I know that that's programmed to S-bus. I have had it all working before I modified the 4th connector, but luckily I actually have a spare kicking around. So to show you the difference, if I show you, I might need to whip. So you can see that extra pin sticking up compared to that. Now removing that extra pin on this version seems to have fucked it, or it was my bad soldering or the other. Anyway, so I'm going to use this one, which means that you get to see how to program one of these up, which is nice for you, I suppose, isn't it? Isn't it? Right, let me get the tripod so I can set this camera down, and we will do some programming of S-bus decoder. Now this thing that might look slightly like the moon is actually what I was doing some soldering on. So here is the little channel changer. So this is Futaba SBC1. This is our S-bus channel changer. A lot of the Futaba radios also have this ability programmed into them, and I presume that FreeSky must do something similar to this. But this is the one that I have, because we use Futaba servos in a lot of the big planes now, S-bus ones. So, ta-da, there it is, I found it. So, what I'm doing here is I am basically moving my bulky receiver onto the wingtip and then moving this inside the fuselage because it's so small. What can I compare it to? Well, compare it to a 5.8 video transmitter. Most people know the size of them. Can you see? Not that bad. So, what I'm using it for, as I say, is to sort of move the channel output. Another option you have with these is for additional servo outs. So 2 reasons you might want to do this. Say you use a vector. If on your S-bus lead you put a wire lead, I've not had a vector, so this is going off of what I've heard from people like Matt Outboard. If you put a wire lead in, and then have one end of your wire lead go into the vector and another wire lead go into here, these can be for dedicated separate servos, so flaps or undercarriage or pan and tilt, you know, stuff that isn't used by your flight controller. Another option you could use is, for example, what I plan on using these for in the future. The biggest easy UHF receiver you can get is 8 channels. But if I want more than 8 channels, because by the time you've had 4, elevator, rudder, throttle, aileron, and then 2 flight mode switches, you've only got 2 channels left. Say that takes up with pan and tilt. What if you've got flaps, or an undercarriage, or an on-screen display switch turn on and off? It's challenging, to say the least. Whereas what you could do is you could set channel 8 in your what's it called, Immersion RC computer programming thing, whatever it's called, that program. You could set channel 8 to be your S-bus out. You plug this into channel 8, and then you program this so that output 1, because you see we have 4 outputs, you program output 1 to be your channel 8, 2 to be 9, 3 to be 10, 4 to be 11, and you basically get 3 extra channels because you use up 1 and gain 4. So, ta-da, that's what I'm going to use them for in the future, but I need a radio that actually outputs more than 8 channels, because the 10 is a bit strange, but I love it. It's the best radio I've ever had. And that's the 10 CP from Futaba, not the 10J. Good God, no. So that is how these things work. Let's get to programming them. So what do I actually mean by programming them? Well, first of all, focus. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is the lowest pin, 2 is the middle, 3 is there, and then 4 is the one that's straight out. So we can set these outputs to any channel on your radio. So 1 could be 12, 2 could be 3, 3 could be 2, and 4 could be 9 if you really wanted to confuse yourself. I'm going to do it nice and simple and just program 1 as 1, 2 as 2, 3 as 3, and 4 as 4. I apologise, there's a boiler in this room which is fired up. So they are actually incredibly easy to program. What I need is a little battery to run this off, so I'll just move the camera quickly while I go and find the little battery I require. Okay, so here's our little box. I'm going to put, focus again, there we are. So as you can see, we've got S-bus and BAT. So I'm going to plug the S-bus. You either put your servo or your little decoder into the S-bus section. You then put, I've got a little 5-cell NiCad here, any sort of 5 or 6 volt input, put that in. Now this is what I was not getting on the other one, green light. So as you can see at the moment, that green light is on 3. And if I push that button, it'll move. So that's gone to 4, 1, 2, so 2, 3, 4. So to program output 1, we first of all change the output number on here to 1. Okay, so now this is telling this little decoder box, which is flashing occasionally, that we're programming output 1 at the moment. So if we wanted output 1 on here to be 8, we change this little spinny dial to 8. So that's between the 7 and the 9. Funnily enough, that's how numbers work. And then you press and hold the button for a second and it will program it. But because we're being nice and simple here, where's that screwdriver I put down? Where's that screwdriver I'm putting down? So I'm going to go in with this screwdriver, and there's an arrow on the end of this pot. I'm going to turn that possibly to 2. That's definitely at 1. Thank you for zooming over there. That's not what I want you to zoom on. So as you can see, I've set the arrow to 1. We then press and hold the button. It flashes a few times and goes solid, and then we remove the power, and then you remove the servo. We're not going to remove the servo, we're going to put it back in. We are going to go to this little doohickey and move it to channel 2 by pressing the button. Then spin the rotary dial to 2 and press the button. Done. Right. Unplug. Plug it in again. You tell me what we're going to do this time. We're going to press that button. 2, 3. We're going to rotate that by 1 click to 3. So this is the just to reaffirm, this is your transmitter channel. So for example, if you're on Futaba, aileron is 1. And on here you're changing which output you want it on here. So 3 is 3. I can't remember if I actually pressed the button or not, so I'll do it again. Rampart flashing. Excellent. Unplug. Plug it in. And even though I'm not going to use it, I'm also going to program channel 4. So set it to light number 4. Rotate this to between 3 and 5 for 4. And press and hold the button. It says press and hold the button. It flashes when it's solid. Unplug. So that is how you program a S-bus decoder, or pretty much any S-bus servo. That was a tutorial within a video for you. I might even possibly post it separate. But anyway, yes, I will now attempt to do some more wiring or something. I don't know. Okay, so let me apologise first for the fact my camera, for whatever reason, has started to make noise. You can really hear when I zoom in, so there's possibly something wrong with the lens. So while we fight over the noise and the fact that the microphone is terrible anyway, I remember what the speaker controller is from. It is from a Hobby King yak, and let me show you why. That's right. About 3 years ago, as a Christmas prank, I changed all of our plush speed controllers to sing Jingle Bells, and they never got changed back 3 years later, so that's fun. Okay, so the funnel works, but let me show you. Unfortunately, only one aileron works. So there's possibly something wrong with this. It is unplugged, that was not causing the issue. Possibly there's something wrong with it when we change the length of the wire. We can have a fiddle with that. I'm also wondering if... No, because servo didn't work on any other channel, so... Yep, I do believe there is an issue with this connector. I also need to put some heat shrink on there. So that are my next few jobs, and hopefully this camera doesn't fully break in the meantime. Right, I have changed the connector on the servo, and they are now both working. So now it's time to sort out wiring and such things, and some heat shrink for that. Alright, so our receiver is heat shrunk. I just used some of this heat shrink. It is a shame that the hole is a bit big, but never mind. I've got that plugged into channel 4, and it's strapped in. That runs down here, and under there you've got that S-Bus decoder, which you've got the servos and the new ESC I found for it. So they all go into there. I haven't cut the one for the video transmitter yet. All the servos connected up, everything works. It's essentially ready to fly. Obviously need to put the wingtips on. Set movements and rates and things, put the battery in and do the CG of that. FPV gear of course isn't in. I've got to solder it all together, take that, put that in there, and put the camera in this no section. To actually fly it, it would only take sort of 10-15 minutes more work. I'm actually going to do a separate video on a simple, how to solder up a simple FPV setup, so that'll be for this plane, but it'll be in a separate video. I'll link to it in the description as well as part 1 to this video. And once this has, before the first flight, I will just go over this plane completely, show you everything I've done on it, all of the components, and yeah, not a bad plane at all really. And it should fly pretty quick, because I've seen people running 400 watt setups. This is about 480, so should be decently quick. And one day I'd love to build one of these things with an F80 T-motor on the back of it. Yeah, that's 2 kilos of thrust on something this small. 1,000 watts would be pretty epic. But this is what we'll stay with for now, because we don't know if it even flies nicely yet. But yes, this is going to be it for part 2 of this build series. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a lot. Remember to subscribe if you're new, and leave me a comment if you have any feedback or questions at all. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.